the whole essence of the way we're going to go about what we do is that this franchise really does belong to our fans. And not just the patience, but the enthusiasm that they've shown throughout this process for the Rangers as a whole, and for our ownership group, and the prospect of us having the opportunity to purchase the franchise has been incredibly energizing, and it means a lot to us. We're never going to forget that. It's going to motivate everything that we do, and we're going to at all times remember who we really work for, and that's our fans, who have been remarkable throughout this process. So one of the things that we're announcing today is a series of initiatives that I think reflect a lot about our operating philosophy. We are immediately reducing the prices of hot dog, soda, beer, parking, and ball caps, which I think are 5 of the basic staples in life. And so we're doing all of those things immediately. It's just the beginning of what's going to be an extensive program that will never end to try to reach out and be responsive to what our fans are looking for. Another thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up ways that we can be more in touch with our fans than I think the franchise has ever been before. We're going to have a series of town hall meetings and online chats to try to break down any barriers that have ever existed or could exist between our fans and the franchise, so that we can get their opinions on what we can do better, what we can change, how we can better serve them, because that's what it's all about. As I said, that's who we really work for. If you're here with a cap of another major league team, we're going to give you amnesty and a little bit of a break. If you turn in that cap, you get about 20% off to put the right headgear on, which is a Rangers cap, and that's effective immediately. There were many moments of frustration, many moments when it would have been human nature to lash out in some direction, thoughtfully or blindly. And we just never wanted to do that. You know, the view from the high road's always better, and that's where we wanted to stay. We knew what our goal was. The strategy to try to get there seemed to change. Certainly there were a lot of surprises, and there were a lot of expectations that I had about what would happen next that turned out to be incorrect. But at the end of the day, it came down to will, and it came down to resolve and commitment and passion. And we just weren't going to be denied. I was down here. I first came down working in May, work on the acquisition in May of 2009, when the team was under 500 and the crowds weren't very good, and obviously the club had been coming off some tough years on the field, but you could see that better times were ahead. And I really believed that with all of the wonderful things going on throughout the community and all of North Texas, that this franchise was a sleeping giant, and that given a little bit of time and the right touch from an operational standpoint, that it could be a great franchise. Now, over the passage of time, as it kept being delayed, the fruits of a lot of that hard work that Nolan and John Daniels have done over the last 3 or 4 years were beginning to become apparent. And it just didn't sit well with me or with my partners that someone would come in sort of in the 9th inning and enjoy the benefits of something that we had labored so long and hard for. Didn't resent it, but we just weren't going to be denied. And I think our fans can take a lot of comfort from the fact that that's how we're going to operate the franchise. I mean, we're a really competitive group of people, and there was no way we weren't going to win. And that's the way we're going to operate the franchise. It's about winning, and it's about passion, and it's about a commitment to being great on and off the field, and that's going to drive everything that we do. You know, when you come in at this time of year, obviously there's limits on what you're able to implement right away. But 3 or 4 things that come to mind. First of all, just savoring the great season that we're fortunate to be enjoying right now. I mean, this has been just a tremendous run, and to see the Ranger caps popping up all over town, to see when you walk into a bar or restaurant now, the Ranger game's on. I mean, earlier in the year, the game either wasn't on at all, or if there were a bunch of TVs, it'd be on, the little 1989 model in the corner, and the World Cup or something else would be on a flat screen. And now the Rangers are right there very prominently, as we deserve to be. So to savor what's already taken place and to look forward with great anticipation for what's going to be a great stretch drive and hopefully playing well into October, I think that's the most important thing, is to appreciate the good times, because everyone who cares about this franchise deserves to do that. The second thing, which I did earlier today, was to thank and reassure the front office staff that has done such a remarkable job of keeping their poise and their focus, how much that means to all of us, that no one has anything to fear. We didn't come in here to substitute. We didn't come in here to subtract. Whatever talent we add will be by pure addition. And so the times of instability and fear should be gone. The third thing is to really get after the process of supplementing our complement of front office talent. This organization has been without a chief operating officer, a head of sponsorship sales, a head of ticket sales, and a head of marketing for an extended period of time now. So that's one primary point of my focus, is bringing in that senior level talent to supplement the terrific people who are already in our front office, so that, as I've said before, our success off the field can match our success on the field. And the fourth thing is, I think, to again establish that when we talk about operating this franchise for our fans, that it's more than mere words, and that we back it up. And I think the initiatives that we've announced today are the first step. Connecting ourselves more effectively with our fans is another step. And again, that's not just an interim approach. That's something that will be governed by 365 days a year forever. And then the last thing is to really jump in earnest, which we already have, into thoughts of how we can improve the ballpark for next year. We've already done that. The day after the auction, we were already meeting, talking about video board possibilities and other upgrades for the ballpark. So we're going to have to really hustle, because the lead time on some of those items are pretty significant. But we've been looking forward to throwing ourselves into this for a long time, and we're doing that. This ballpark is just beautiful, and it's unique. I mean, there are a lot of great ballparks around Major League Baseball now, certainly more now than there were when this ballpark opened in 1994, and yet this is still, this has its own look, its own feel, and it's great. But in a number of respects, particularly when it comes to video and technology and other things that add the sizzle to the fan experience, it's outdated. Not in terms of design, but more in terms of appliances, for lack of a better phrase. So those things are all pretty easy to correct, and that's what we're already aggressive in taking a look at. First of all, I think Sports Service does a great job here, and I really appreciate their flexibility in initiating these price cuts that we've mandated. And I think they do a fine job, but I think we can do a lot better job of diversifying the food choices in the ballpark, and also bring them more into the fan experience. I mean, I think going to a ball game is about sights, sounds, and smells. And because of the design of the park right now, the food experience is removed from being in the seating bowl, and we've got a number of ideas that we're working on about how we can again bring the sights, sounds, and smells more into the experience when you're actually sitting and watching the game. Some other things that we can do that we're also initiating tonight is, for years, for reasons that I don't understand, the audio feed of the radio broadcast has been shut off in the concourse as well. Effective tonight, when you walk around the concourse, you can hear the ball game. Again, it's sights, sounds, and smells. There's also a number of in-game elements that Chuck Morgan's just been chomping at the bit to implement that he's really excited about. I'm excited about them too. You already got a little bit of a sneak peek during the Yankees series that Nolan had some terrific ideas about how to make the feel of the game more about Texas. You had the 6 shooters running around with the state flags when we score a run on Greens Hill. So we've got a lot of elements like that, some of which you'll see tonight, and a lot of which are still under development. But I think it's a great environment here at the ballpark, but we need to reinvent ourselves regularly, and we're going to take the opportunity to do that now. Well, every once in a while I think, geez, if I don't do this, I'm going to have to practice law again. That was fairly inspirational. But no, I just really believed in what was possible here. Again, it seems easy to say that now with how well the team is doing on the field and how strong the attendance has been, particularly these last dozen games where conventional wisdom aside has been really hot, and we've been averaging over 40,000 a game, which I think demonstrates, as I've been saying for over a year that if you're compelling, people will come to the games. And what kept me going is, as I said, going back to last May, I really believed in what was possible for the ball club on the field. I believed in the farm system that had been put together, and I really believed in this community. And that there were a whole host of reasons, perhaps, why the Rangers as a franchise hadn't clicked with the fan base in a number of years. But I believed that could change, and I believed that it would change. And at some point, myself and my partners, a long time ago, became really emotionally invested in helping to shape that future, and we just weren't going to let it go. I think it's terrific. I think Chuck Morgan does a great job. I think our fans have a great time here. I think we've got a very charismatic group of players that remind me a lot of the Pirates that I grew up with, who had a swagger, but in a friendly way. They obviously liked each other. They were having fun. They remembered why the umpire says play ball instead of work ball. And so I think that right now is a great time to be a Ranger fan. So I think the experience is terrific. But every day of our lives, we can get a little bit better. And I always figure if I can go to bed at night knowing just a little bit more than I did when I woke up, that's a pretty good day. And so when we talk about improving the fan experience, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. I think it's terrific. But we want to make it absolutely the best it can be every single day. If there's a technology that comes along that makes sense, that's safe, and that's cost efficient, we're going to be open-minded about anything and everything, whether it's regarding fan comfort, the fan experience, or anything. We're always going to be open-minded. So far, there just isn't anything out there that makes sense. And again, I know it's hot. I'm wearing all black today, so I realize that it's hot. But I truly believe that it is not nearly as big an issue as some folks would think. In our conference call yesterday, Nolan was speaking from the perspective of a starting pitcher, that the number of starts during the year when it's really a factor is a very small minority. And most of the year, this is as comfortable a place to play as anywhere in the country. So if you want to get off to a good start, or more importantly, if you want to be playing in ideal conditions in the World Series, would you rather be here, or would you rather be in the Northeast where it's 39 degrees and there's freezing rain and you're slipping and sliding all over the mountain? So, and as far as the idea that it's hot and so fans won't come, again, the hottest time of the year, we've been averaging over 40,000 a game. Now, I'm sure everyone there would have preferred it to be 10 degrees cooler, but it didn't keep people from coming to the games. If you're compelling, you'll go watch it. And because for a lot of our fans, if they weren't here, they'd be watching their son or their grandson play football outside. And it's just as hot, and there's no shade, and there's nowhere to go to get a break from it. But it's compelling to see, so they go. And the key for us is we've got to continue to be compelling and be fun. And I think the organization is doing a great job already, and we're going to see what we can do to make it even better.